We ready to rock and roll. We ready to rock and roll. That's that old DJ voice. Come on, y'all. Let's come on. Let's get this thing started. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. If you're coming on, I want you to hit that like button, hit that share button, tag Lolly Dolly everybody and let them know Prophet Ramon, the squad, and the Ramon Preston Show. We are live in his house on this beautiful Thursday right here in the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta. Wherever you are, I want you to drop the name of your city, your state, your country in the comments. Who you representing? Let us know. I want to give you a shout out. Please hit the like button, share it. Make sure that you text, tweet, tag, or yell in the other room for somebody to join you today on the Ramon Preston Show, because today I'm going to be talking about steps to lowering your business tax liability. For the last few days, particularly this week on the show, I've been talking about maximizing your business deductions. I've been talking about creative tax strategies. I've been talking about the role of accounting in your business. And today I want to talk a little bit about lowering your business tax liability. So please, if you are joining me live, I want you to drop in the comments what city, what state, what country you represent. I want to say thank you to all of our YouTube subscribers. We almost have 6,000 subscribers. So please be sure, whether you're on YouTube or not, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page. I would certainly appreciate your subscription. We want to cross 6,000 subscribers before this month is out, as well as we want you to follow us on LinkedIn. I think we have 6,800 followers on LinkedIn, almost 7,000. We want to cross the 7,000 mark on LinkedIn. We have a few thousand people on Instagram, on Facebook. We are on TikTok. We're on Twitter. We're on Snapchat too. I don't even think I use it, but we're on there. So you can find me at any of those places at Ramon Preston. Just go to YouTube, go to LinkedIn, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, type in at Ramon Preston, and your boy is going to come up. Make sure that you hit the like, hit the share. Make sure that you subscribe and follow us. We need your love, we need your prayers, and we need your participation and support. So thank you so much for doing that and for dropping that in the comments. Before we get started on today's show, I also want to give a shout out to all of you who are members of our business community. I want to remind you that we have a business community Facebook page. It's called the RP Business Community. So if you are a member of our coaching program, if you are a member of our Blueprint Game Plan online training program, I want you to go to Facebook and I want you to put in the search the RP Business Community. This is an exclusive private Facebook group that we have, and it's just one of the features that we have in our business coaching community. And we want you to interact with your fellow members. We want you to have an opportunity to share your success stories and to get feedback from other individuals who are part of our business community. Also, ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, November the 20th, that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4? Yeah, a month away. We're almost a month away. On Saturday, November the 20th, right here in Buckhead, we have a venue that we're going to be using right across the street from our headquarters. We're going to be hosting a live VIP sales and marketing workshop. So we're going to take about 4, maybe 5 or 6 hours on Saturday, November the 20th, and we're going to help you put together a solid sales system, a sales cycle for your products and services. And we're also going to help you put together a solid marketing campaign for your business. So this VIP workshop is going to be live on Saturday, November the 20th from 12 to 4. Again, it's probably going to be 6 o'clock when we're all finished, because I want to make sure you leave this live event with a sales script, with the sales cycle that you could go use for your business, for your products and services, as well as with a solid marketing campaign that could get you attention, that could heighten your awareness and get you contacts and conversions. So if you would like to join me in person or virtually, we have an offer that we've extended for about a week or so now. And this is a $29 offer. For $29, you can join us live virtually for the VIP Sales and Marketing Workshop. And we're also giving you access to 2 other workshops for free. So you're going to have access for $29 to our upcoming live VIP Sales and Marketing Workshop. And we're giving you access to our holding company workshop, teaching you how to start a holding company, how to structure it. We're teaching you how to file and form your paperwork. We're talking about operating agreements. We're talking about other agreements that you can have in your holding company, like lease agreements, licensing agreements. And we're giving you access to our financial workshop, where we're teaching you creative tax strategies. We're teaching you about accounting, balance sheets, cash flow. We're teaching you about income and expense tracking. We take about 2 hours to teach you how to configure a QuickBooks account for your business or businesses. So you get all of those workshops for $29. That's the virtual workshop for $29. All the information you could see in the comments, and there's a link. You can literally go to RamonPreston.com/event. 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 And you can RSVP for $29 and get access to all of our workshops: sales and marketing, holding companies, and financial systems. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. Like, that information is like game changing. It has literally changed my life. It's changing the lives of so many people who we're teaching and who we're coaching and consulting. So I want you to take advantage of that. If you'd like to join me in person on Saturday, November the 20th, the cost is only $69. So for $69, you can get access to all of the workshops, and you can join me in person. So it's up to you. Be sure to click the link. If you have any questions you want to ask, just reach out to us. Take the number you see in the description and comments and just give us a call. We'll be more than happy to answer your questions. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ramon Preston Show. I am your host, Ramon Preston. And guess what? Every Monday through Friday, right here from the beautiful Buckhead community of Atlanta, in the global headquarters of Ramon Preston Enterprises, every Monday through Friday, we come to you to share information with you that is designed to help you properly start, structure, and scale your businesses, your ministries, your income streams, and your wealth building dreams. And so today, I'm going to be sharing with you some steps that you can use to lower your business tax liability. Now, one of the reasons why I've been talking about this all week is because if you are wealthy, or if you know people who are wealthy, who are millionaires, who have a lot of money and who run a lot of businesses or who have a lot of investments, one of the things that all of those groups of people are doing in this fourth quarter, like they do every fourth quarter, is they are forecasting. They're forecasting. And what that means is they're starting to look into the future before they get out of this calendar year to determine what their business tax liability is, or what the potential tax liability is. You know why? Because wealthy people, those who are rich, those who are investors, they don't want to go into a new year with a high tax liability. So therefore, they want to figure out creative ways to lower their tax liability while maximizing their profitability and having wiggle room to expand their business or their investments in creative ways. And this is, I'm not going to say why, but I'm going to say this. This is how a lot of times the rich get richer. And these are concepts. These are strategies. These are business wealth building principles that the everyday person either doesn't have access to or won't give themselves access to. And if they get access to it, the everyday person won't typically use them. And so because I have been an everyday person, because I came from nothing. I came from nothing. I had nothing. And I had to get it from the bottom up. I had to grind my way to where I am right now. And I know the process that you have to go through just to get to where I am right now is a process that most people are not going to go through. I don't know how many thousands upon thousands of times that I've given up in my own mind. And I'm not going to say thousands, it may be tens of thousands of times, because I've had days that I woke up and I started going through the course of my days, and every 20 minutes I'm like, man, I give up. Man, I quit, man. It ain't never gonna happen. I ain't gonna never be financially free. I ain't gonna never have a successful business. I ain't gonna never get to where I'm going. And I'm talking about somebody who is a man of God. I'm a preacher. I'm a prophet. I love the word of God. I quote scriptures every day. I pray. I speak in tongues. I serve God. I love my family. I pay my tithes. I give. I serve. I sow. I do all these things, and I'm still struggling financially. This is where I've been. I've been to that place. I know what it feels like to wake up every day and just to be struggling and be like, man, what is wrong? Like, why can't I be better off? Why can't I be successful? And I used to convince myself that maybe it wasn't God's will for me to be wealthy or to be rich or to be financially free. Maybe somehow this was like God's way of just proving me to be faithful to him. I've gone through all those scenarios in my head and in my life. I've thought it through so many different ways. But guess what? I had to come to the conclusion that it's really not that God has this thing about you that he doesn't want you to do better. And it's not like the devil is just so after you because you're just so important that he gonna make sure you don't never have anything. The truth is there are certain principles, there are certain concepts that have been packaged in certain information that many of us who come from like everyday lives either don't have access to, or when we get access to it, we don't really know how to use it. And this is one of the reasons why I've created the platforms I've created, like my online university, like my consulting and coaching business, like my training programs, like the Ramon Preston Show, because I want to show you that if you make the commitment to not just get the information, but to learn the information and to apply the information, and you're consistent with that commitment to that information, at some point, it's going to start working for you. And so wealthy people, multi-billion and trillion-dollar companies and entities today, they have already projected and forecasted what needs to happen before this calendar year is out. This is one of the reasons why we be all mad at certain people like Donald Trump or Amazon, and we like, oh, they ain't paying no taxes. They need to pay more taxes. Well, okay, that's your opinion, and you feel the way you want to feel about it, unless you're rich, unless you're a billionaire. And then you're going to be around here just as conservative as they are when it comes to paying taxes, because you saying that because you ain't got no money. You saying that because you're on the other side of the road. But if you're on this side of the road and you got a whole lot of money and you wealthy and you're a billionaire and you got investments and assets and businesses all over the world, you might be talking a different language. And don't give me this old lame excuse. Well, if I was rich, I would do A, B, and C for people. You lying, because you don't know what you would do because you have not gotten there. So you can't say what you're going to do or what you will do when you get to a certain point, because people say that all the time until they get there. And most of the people who say that never get there. And the reason why they never get there is because of the mindset that they have. So I want you to take advantage of the information that I'm sharing with you. And if you are an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, even if you're a minister, okay, because you could be a minister. If you're getting a salary from your church or your ministry, you probably paying taxes too. Okay, we all gonna pay taxes to some extent. We paying taxes somewhere. It's just a matter of how can I use a business system or business systems to lower my overall tax liability. And so that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. Now, I do have 10 steps to lower your tax liability. I ain't giving y'all all 10 today. And one of the reasons why I'm not giving you all 10 because I ain't gonna have that much time to give you all 10. The next reason I ain't gonna give you all 10 because you should be clicking the link to get a lot of this information either from our workshops or from our training program online or from our coaching program. You should be getting that information. So I'm giving you enough to show you that, okay, he knows what he's talking about. Obviously, he's using it because he's successful. And again, being successful could be subjective to how you see success. But I'm talking about having financial freedom. I'm talking about actually having money. I'm talking about having stability. I'm talking about having a real business that's growing. I'm talking about creating opportunities for people to be financially free and successful. That's the type of success that I'm talking about. I'm looking at scoreboards. I'm not just looking at all the theories that we talk about. So we want to talk about how to lower your business tax liability. And again, if you are a W-2 employee or a 1099 independent contractor, you still have a tax liability. And we went through this scenario this week in our show that the W-2 employee, which is the labor income category, pays the most in taxes. The 1099 network marketer, independent contractor, the insurance agent, the barber, some of the athletes, a lot of them are either 1099s or W-2s or contractors to some extent. They are the active income category and they pay a little less than the W-2, but it's still high. And the least tax are the passive income categories. And in most cases, it's not just because they own businesses, but it's because they own business systems. And those business systems are actually used as assets that produce income, but they also simultaneously lower their overall tax liability. And so I do have 10 steps that I can share with you on how to lower your business tax liability for 2021 before this year is over. But again, I want you to keep in mind, you have to do this before December 31st. You have to do this before December 31st. And trust me, you could be getting busy. You can have a lot going on. I have made that mistakes many years myself where I had an opportunity to lower my tax liability in one area and I didn't because I overlooked a few things because I had so many things going on. But this is a good time when you come into the fourth quarter of each year. This is a good time. And this is what I tell all of our clients that I talk with. This is a good time for you to start the process of forecasting, looking out into the future, seeing what your tax liability would potentially be and figuring out what steps you need to take. What things do you need to do in order to lower this tax liability? So I have 10 steps, but as I said, I'm going to just give you a couple. So here's number one. Number one, you need to subtract your total expenses from your total profits to date. All right, so this would be the first step to lowering your business tax liability. You want to subtract your total expenses from your total profits to date. So what does that mean, Prophet Ramon? What that means is you need to look at all the money you have brought in from January 1 to today. Today is October the 21st. Don't wait till February of next year to do this. Because if you wait till next year to do this, I have made this crazy mistake. If you wait till next year to do it, you're not going to be able to come back into this year and reconcile it and fix it. And the tax person is not going to do it because they're not going to go to jail for you. Okay. So you want to look back at all the money you have brought in. Okay. All the money you have brought in. Now, some of you have different types of income that you have made. You may have made income from your job. You may have made income from a 1099. You may have made income from speaking or doing something on the side. You choose to do what you want to do, but here's what you should be doing. All the income that you have coming in, you should be giving an account for. Now, if you ratchet and you shade tree and you doing stuff under the table because you don't want to pay no taxes, most likely you struggling. Because that's not how you move forward. That's not how you get ahead. You have to do things right. And the truth is, if you're doing things crooked, if you're doing things wrong, you already have closed your mind off to going further in life. Because you got to live under the radar. Because you don't want to be on American greed. You got to live under the radar. Because you don't want to pay the IRS. You got to live under the radar. Because you don't want the banks to see all these transactions. So everything you do got to be on a cash basis. It got to be under the table. Everything got to be slick, slimy, and grimy. And you don't understand because of that mindset, you're losing in life, not just in your finances. So if that's you, number one, I want to say to you, get it together. Figure it out, especially if you married and you got a family. You need to just get things together. You need to get it right. You need to start doing things in a moral, ethical way, especially if you saved. If you're a Christian, if you're a believer, and you around here acting like that as a business person, you need to get it together. And I'm talking to preachers too. Because some of you preachers do that too. Some of you preachers do that too. You know, you around here preaching and getting offerings and don't nobody know what you're doing. You don't do nothing but you just living off the good of the land. But you got to get to a point to where you professionalize what you do. If you want people to take you serious as a leader, as a minister, as a business owner, you got to get it together. You got to do it the right way. That's one of the things that I wanted to do. When I first started in entrepreneurship, even in ministry, I always said to myself way back then, we're talking about 21 years ago, I was ordained. 18 years ago, my wife and I got married. We used to always say that, like, I don't want to be doing this stuff under the table, you know, just getting money here, getting money there on the side. I want to do things right, man. I want to have my stuff together because when I looked around at people who were successful, they had their stuff together. They had their finances together. They had their bookkeeping together. They had their paperwork together. They had their ministries together, their businesses together. I didn't want to play all those ratchet, under the table, slimy, shade tree games. And I don't want you to do that. So for those of you who really want to do it the right way, for those of you who really want to be ethical and be moral and be successful, I'm telling you that you got to do this the right way. And you got to maintain that level of integrity. So what you need to do is subtract your total expenses from your total profits to date. So you go from January 1 to, let's say today, October 21st of 2021, and look at all the income you brought in. And again, you need to add all income. So that means all the little side jobs that you did, all the little hustles that you had, all the little things that you did off the grid, off the record. You need to tally up that total dollar amount from January 1 to October 21 to date. Since we're doing this exercise today, figure out what that total dollar amount is, right? And then you need to figure out and calculate what are your total expenses. So now I have my total profits, that dollar amount, and then I need to have my total expenses. I need to have that dollar amount so I can figure out where do I go from there. So it starts with that. So you need to start looking at all the income you got coming in. See, I have all types of income coming in different areas because I do a whole lot of things. So when I get my total profits and expenses to date put together so that I can submit it to my tax strategist so that they can help me forecast what my potential tax liability is, right? When I do that, I got to look at 6 or 7 or 8 different streams because my wife and I do so many different things and we have income coming in from different directions, and that income that's coming from different directions is treated differently. Some of that income could be considered labor income. Some of that income could be considered active income, 1099 income. Some of that income could be considered tax-free income or passive income. But we got to bring it all together. We have to itemize it and figure out what the total profits are, and then we subtract our total expenses so we can come up with what that number is to date. So that's step 1, okay? I told y'all I got 10 steps, but I'm probably only going to give you 5. If you want all of them, you're just going to have to join my coaching program. Because really, you should have a coach. You should have someone who knows what they're doing and who's actually doing it regularly to help you and to direct you and point you correctly so that you could be doing these things right. One thing I can say about a lot of the people who are in my coaching program, and some of these people are making money. Some of these people are 6-figure earners. Like, let's make no mistake about it. Like, we're not just around here acting like scrubs. There are people who are in this coaching program that we have that are 6-figure earners, multiple 6-figure earners, who I know a couple of them without a shadow of a doubt going to be millionaires. I already know it. But when they reach out to us or call our office and ask us a lot of critical questions like this, the fact that they could get the right answers, though, like those answers are saving them tens of thousands of dollars just because they got this stuff at their disposal. So step number 2, you want to calculate your taxable net profits to date. All right? So that means if you did step 1, that means you went all the way back to January 1st. You came up to today, October 21st, and you got a number for all your total profits, and you subtracted all your total expenses. Whatever your net profits are, will potentially be the taxable net profits. Okay? So let's say, for example, let's say if your total profits were $100,000, right? And let's say if your total expenses, let me just do something different. I want to make sure y'all wrote that down. You wrote that down? Number 2, calculate your taxable net profits. So those are the first 2 steps. I'm going to show you how that works. So let's say, and I'm not going to do a big number because I don't want to overwhelm you, but let's just say if your total profits from January 1st to October 21st, let's say if your total profits were $40,000, okay? And let's say if your total expenses were $35,000, let's just say, from January 1st to now, then that means your net profits will be $5,000. This is your net profit to date. This could actually be taxable net profits. So that means if you went into 2021 or 2022 having profited $40,000 in total gross sales or revenue, and then you had $35,000 worth of expenses, and you had a $5,000 net profit, you go into 2022, you could be paying taxes on $5,000. All right. But again, if you understand certain strategic steps that you can take, you may be able to lower that, or you may be able to just end up at a loss on paper, because most of the time when you get to this number, you don't even have this amount of money in your bank account. Your taxable net profits are not always equivalent to your cash flow. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's because you need to learn the fundamentals of accounting and financial literacy. So let me say it again. If you made $40,000 from January 1st to today, and you spent 35 of those 40 in your business from January 1st to today, that means your taxable net profits could generally speaking be $5,000. But that doesn't mean you got $5,000 in the bank. This is why a lot of people get in trouble. This is why a lot of people find themselves broke and their business is in trouble, because they say, wow, I got to pay taxes on $5,000. I ain't even got $200 in the bank. Well, you didn't track it the right way and allocate the money that was coming in the right way on a regular basis, which means when you finally got to the point that you start doing the math, you realize, oh, the math ain't making sense because you ain't got no money. So that's how you do that. That's step 2. Like, some people are probably listening to me right now and watching me. If you like, man, I am confused, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't worry. Don't worry. Okay. Well, you should worry if you're in business, but don't worry if you're going to reach out to me so that we can help you fix this problem you got. Okay. But if you ain't got no help, you better worry, because you're going to be in trouble. Step 3. You got to revisit all transactions from January 1. You got to revisit all transactions from January 1. Now, why do you want to revisit all transactions from January 1? Because let's say in that example that I gave that you have 5,000. Sometimes that taxable net profit, that net taxable net profit could be 5,000. It could be 25,000. So that means you're going to have to go back to January 1 and you're going to start looking at all your transactions, because you need to start fleshing out and filtering out things that you actually missed. Because there may be some things that you missed, that you overlooked. Like, you may have made a purchase with your personal credit card or just with cash that you never put in your QuickBooks system. Or let's say you joined the Ramon Preston coaching program and you spent a couple $1,000 and you traveled one weekend to come to one of Prophet Ramon's workshops or masterminds, but you did that on your personal credit card and you spent, let's say, $7,000 for coaching, for training. You bought some books, you came to an event, you traveled, and you spent $7,000, and you never moved that purchase or those transactions over to your expense column in your business, but you got a net taxable profit of $5,000. So that means you're going to have to go back and you got to start doing some filtering and some fleshing out, because most people going to miss some stuff. We all do it. I did it last year and found out the hard way this year. I found out the hard way this year. There's some things that I missed last year that I wasn't thinking about, and I'm not mad about it because I really couldn't prevent certain things anyway. You know, that's a good problem to have. When you start making a whole lot of money, you just end up having money problems. Didn't Biggie say that? More money, more problems? Who's hot? Who's not? I hear you in there singing. I hear you in there singing. Okay, so number 4. Number 4, you need to locate all missed transactions, and then you need to update your financial statement. So what do I mean by that? Remember, in step 3, I told you you need to go back and revisit all of your transactions, because now you got to locate all missed transactions and update your financial statement. So whatever your initial taxable net profit is, you got to go back and see, wow, did I take somebody out to dinner in February and I didn't use that as a business expense? Did I buy cards and I didn't use it? Did I go to Office Depot? Did I take a trip for business and I forgot to? You got to go find all those little areas. You can't expect a CPA to do this for you. You can't expect a bookkeeper to just do this for you. Some of you, as small 1 to 2 people businesses, you got to do this by yourself. I just told a client this the other day, like, you can't depend on other people to do this stuff for you. See, my team, I'm building a team around me, and my team have to remind me, you're paying somebody to do that. I get reminded of that on a regular basis, but that's a good thing, because they're always reminding me, we're supposed to be doing that for you. I'm supposed to do that for you. That's already done for you. And I'm like, oh, okay, I forgot, dog. I forgot I got people that I've hired to do this stuff. Because in my mind, I had to be everything. I had to be the CEO, the CMO, the CSO, the CFO, and the COO. I had to be all 5. And some of you entrepreneurs, you got to get to the point, at least in your mind, that if I got to be all 5 to make sure my business is winning, I'm going to be all 5. Because what I'm not going to do is keep going into a new year struggling, losing, having all these issues in my financial affairs because I was unwilling to take responsibility for myself. So you got to locate all your missed transactions and update all your financial statements. So that means whatever that net taxable amount was in steps 1, 2, and 3, you want to reset that number to see, now where am I? You might be at a loss when you do that. At the least, you're going to lower your business tax liability just by doing that alone. And again, if or when you hire, let's say, a tax strategist, people that actually do this for a living, they're still going to need you to submit information. Okay, so I still have to put my information together and submit it. So when there are mistakes made, like I've made mistakes in doing this, I just told you I made a mistake last year. And when I did it, when we did our taxes, when I did my business taxes and my personal taxes this year, I realized that I made a mistake last year in the 4th quarter. And the mistake I made was I didn't properly assess certain transactions and allocate those transactions correctly, and it caused my personal tax liability to go up. Even though my business tax liability went down, it caused my personal tax liability to go up. So you got to be able to manage these affairs. Yesterday, when I was talking about accounting, I was talking about your personal and your professional financial affairs. So you got to be able to understand how this works, not just with your personal finances, but also with your business finances. Because like I said, I did my taxes this year from last year and realized my business was good. I didn't have a business tax liability that knocked me over my head, but my personal tax liability, I overlooked certain transactions because I did certain things in 2020 with my personal income that I forgot to really focus on certain nuances that I added to it. And hey, it is what it is. But again, when you do have a tax liability, because you may have one, and sometimes that could be a good problem to have. But when you do have one and you've lowered your business tax liability as low as you possibly can, and let's say you couldn't lower it no more, you got to pay something on something, well, at least you can have money because you were able to track it throughout the year to make sure that whatever your net tax liability is, you actually got cash flow so that you can pay it, right? So number 4, you want to locate all missed transactions and update your financial statements. Let me give you one more. Man, I'm giving y'all the game today. Here's number 5. Number 5. Number 5. I don't know, I might be able to give y'all all of them. Recalculate your new taxable net profits to date. Now again, when you recalculate, because you went and found transactions that you overlooked and you recalculate it, you're going to find out what the dollar amount of taxes you owe, if in fact you owe any. You may be at a loss depending on how you recalculate it, okay? But again, whether you're owing a lower number or no number or at a loss, you're not going to be able to come to that conclusion if you're not able to properly recalculate your new taxable net profits today. So that would mean if I had to file my income taxes today for my business, this is what I would be liable to pay in taxes based on net taxable net profits for my business. You need to know that number right now. You cannot wait till January of 2022 to figure that number out. And I know this is a boring subject. I know some people don't want to hear it, but guess what? Hey, those are the people who don't want to win. Those are the people who want to keep struggling. These are the problems you want to have. So if you around here quoting scriptures and you around here telling everybody on your Instagram post and your Facebook post and you using all these memes that you sharing, oh, I am a millionaire, I'm filthy rich, I own more houses than I can live in, I'm balling out of control. If you're saying all that and you don't want to understand this side, you're never going to get there. And if you get there, you're going to end up in jail because you're going to have this wrong and it's going to come back to bite you. You get what I'm saying? So number 5, you got to recalculate your new taxable net profits to date. And let me give you number 6. I think I'm gonna stop at number 6. But I'll give you number 6 because I think number 6 is a good number to stop on. Number 6, or step 6. I'll give you 10 steps. Step number 6, determine your available cash flow, and I want you to weigh it against taxable net profits. That's it, y'all. I ain't giving you no more. So you can write number 6 down. I got FOMO, but I ain't giving you no more. I got FOMO, I ain't giving you no more. So number 6 is you want to determine your available cash flow and weigh it against your taxable net profits. So that, I want you to write that down. So what does that mean? So let me show you what that means. I'll give you kind of like a mathematical scenario. So if you want to forecast your business financial activities, and it's October 21st today, then that means I'm going to look at my year-to-date profits minus my expenses so that I can come up with my net taxable profits or income to date. So let's say you made $40,000 from January 1 to October 21st. Let's say you made 40 grand. And then you see, okay, my profits were 40, my expenses were 35. That means I netted $5,000. That could actually be my taxable net profits, right? But then I'm gonna look at that 5 and say, okay, well, if I did my taxes today, I would pay taxes on $5,000 because that would be considered my taxable net profits, okay? So what I'm gonna do is, because I'm forecasting before the new year, I'm gonna go back to January 1 and I'm gonna look at all of my transactions and see what expenses did I incur even in my personal finances that were actually business expenses to lower that number. Maybe I have depreciations, that's another step. Maybe I have certain assets that are depreciating assets to help me lower that number, but at least I have a good idea on what am I going to be sending my CPA, my tax strategist, in terms of information and data to help me determine what my tax liability is. Because you may not have any other transactions. You may have done everything right. Maybe there are some depreciations. Maybe there are some bonuses or some advantages somewhere that, or perks that your tax person can find. But while they're going to do their part, I at least have to do my part to make sure, hey, I've covered all my bases. So if I covered all my bases and then I give it to them and they come back and say, ain't nothing else I can do, okay, we ain't got no other options, well, then we'll just pay it on that. So then once I go back and revisit it, I want to make sure that I have located any transaction that could be considered an expense to lower that number. And once I've done that, now I want to put this number. Let's say if you ended up with $5,000 based on your taxable net profits to date. Now you want to weigh this against your available cash flow. So that means you want to look at, this is what I'm owing taxes, or this is what I'm going to pay taxes on if I got my taxes done today. But now I want to look at how much money do I actually have available in the bank right now. So let's say if you got $500 in your bank account right now. So now what is that telling you? That's telling you that you did not set aside money for reserves, money for potential tax liabilities, money for operating expenses, money for your salary throughout the course of the year. You didn't do the math right. And if you did this now, it's going to make it better for you next year, because next year you're going to say, wow, I don't want to end up with a taxable net profit of $5,000 but only have $500 cash in the bank. Somewhere I missed it. Somewhere I didn't calculate my operating expenses. I didn't calculate my taxes, potential tax liabilities. I didn't calculate my salary. I didn't calculate reserves to set aside, because if you end up with this number as taxable net profits, you should have some money in the bank. Let's say if you paid 20 to 30% of taxes in that, that might be a $1,500 tax bill. I don't know, it could be $1,000, depending on what tax bracket you fall into. But my point is, if you ain't even got the money to cover your taxes, now you under pressure. Now you in trouble, when you should have had reserves set aside throughout that year. So that means every time you got a $800 check for a job you did. See, this is why understanding this in business is so important, because now you got to look at it and say, wow, if I made in January, if I made $1,500 here, maybe I didn't make $1,500. Because when I made $1,500 in January, I should have put a certain percentage up for salary. I should have put a certain percentage up for potential taxes. I should have put a certain percentage up for operating expenses. And I should have put a certain percent up for just general reserves. Now that $1,500 might have been $500. So you really didn't make $1,500 in January. You really made $500. Now you wouldn't have did the crazy stuff you did, because truth is you really made $500. You didn't make $1,500. Now you realize I need to make way more money, and I need to live beneath my means, and I need to manage my expenses, and I need to track all of my activities, because the money that I'm making is really not the money that I'm making as an entrepreneur and a business owner and an independent contractor, because I haven't factored all these other things in through the year, which means when I get to the end of the year and I realize I owe this number in taxes and I don't even have this number in available cash flow, something went wrong. What went wrong? I didn't do the math all year long. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. If you learned anything, I want you to give me some feedback in the comments and let me know what exactly did you learn today that helped you. Or maybe you didn't even know this and it was like an eye-opener for you. And this is why I teach this to all of my students in our university. And I teach this to our clients in our coaching program. So for those of you that want to learn more on these financial principles, you want to learn more on business principles, you want to learn more on entrepreneurship, you want to learn more about these tactics, these strategies that could change and transform your business and even your finances, you need to reach out to me. I told you earlier in the show, for $29, we're offering a sales and marketing workshop. We're offering an additional holding company workshop and an additional financial systems workshop. So we're giving you pretty much 4 workshops for $29. All you have to do is go to RamonPreston.com/event. If you go to that website or click that link, you could get access to all of that training. A lot of what I've been talking about this week is in that financial systems workshop. We have way more information that we provide on Ramon Preston University. We have a blueprint game plan. It's our business and financial training program. It's an on-demand, interactive, 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week program that you can access and start training. We have hundreds of training videos, interactive lessons. We got documents, we got forms. We teach you entrepreneurship, business ownership, holding companies. We teach you financial systems, tax strategies. We teach about real estate investing. We teach about goal setting, scheduling. We have live workshops in that program. We have business masterminds that are recorded in that program. We have a lot of handouts and manuals that we give you that you can follow along that are interactive for you. And you just have to make the commitment and the decision to learn it. So you can either access this offer for $29, you could join me in person for $69, or if you like to have access to our blueprint game plan or our coaching program, all you have to do is text the word blueprint or coaching to 404-478-7213. 404-478-7213. 404-478-7213. Give me some feedback. Let me know how this show today helped you understand the importance of taking the right steps to lower your business tax liability. You got to do this before the year is out, and this is the part of your forecasting. This is tax strategy 101, if you will. I look forward to hearing from you. I love you. We're here for you. If you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to us. We're here at the office today awaiting your call and your text. Until tomorrow, thank you for joining.